Hello, this is Christy.
We are a sister duo, and together we have conversations we weren't having anywhere else. So if you've been asking yourself, is this it? This is Henlet's Collective. Have you ever had one of those days where everything hits at once and then tags in extra problems like it's a wrestling match or something, and you have to still show up? Well, welcome to today's podcast. Pull up a chair because I see you, and we're all going to try to figure this out. It seems like everybody right now is kind of in the same boat as far as, you know, people call it a season, but I've been calling it for years, where you have to still show up for everything, even though life is throwing your financial difficulties at you, your emotional difficulties at you, you're being sick even right now, especially for everybody, it seems like. And I was going to try to say romantic entanglements, and it just how does this kind of ties back to our adulting episode of how what they didn't teach you in school, because we are always just having to have like a high functioning depression and show up for work, show up for family, show up for our pets, show up for whatever it's going to take in order to get us through the day. And do you push through or do you shut down? I know for me, I freaking vegetate on the couch half the time, it seems like, just because I don't want to think about all the depressing things that are happening in my life right now.
That's hard for a lot of Americans right now. So many financial struggles, and just the way our economy is, the way prices just seem to go up and up and up. And it's just, there's so much sickness and so many people in our day and age that are just dealing with so much, right? And it's just easy to shut down and not deal with it. I mean, I think everyone, and you can't tell me that you haven't dealt with that, because I would say 99% of Americans deal with that.
So let's take this in section. Let's talk about being sick. When was I sick? Like a week or two ago. I had bronchitis, was on antibiotics, and I don't have kids. I have a child who does live with me who is older and could she has to deal with public, but I rarely go out. So it's usually whatever she's bringing home from work. But, it's like being sick as an adult is just disrespectful. And, it's not because, nobody's going to come to take care of you. You have to do it yourself. Thankfully, I do live by myself for the most part. And I know I say that a lot but I think it's important because a lot of people live as a nuclear family. I don't have that anymore just because of all the circumstances. My kids are older. They obviously have all their own lives. My husband's gone, and I know I say that a lot of being by myself, but I think it's important as far as context for people because I can only relate it to what I'm going through. But when I was sick, I have to drive myself. I have to take myself to the doctor. I gotta take care of the dog. I still gotta do all the chores because got an adult, right? And
What about when Mark was sick and you had to deal with taking him to the doctor or dealing with,
so
whatever came up with all
when
of that?
he got sick, he actually had video calls from his doctor. So he could do that from his home. And whenever he needed blood work, they would come to the house and do it. He didn't go out, period. Like he couldn't get up to go out, period. So I didn't have to worry about that so much, and if I've had to come home a few times to deal with stuff when that happened. But then I had to take time off of work. And I just look how many times I've fallen, and I I'm gonna need those life alert things like you and I were talking about. The
I'm
fall, help, I've fallen,
thinking
I
about
can't get
getting you
up.
one.
Yeah, I mean, and so the one time when I fell and I couldn't get Alexa to call Shelby for me, and Shelby can't drive, so what good is she gonna do? It's not like she can come home and, you know, she has to call an Uber or she has to have a friend come and drop her off. So it's really hard when you're sick. Even then, even if you did live with somebody, can you cook me dinner? I'm hungry, or something like that, right? It's
But you showed up day after day after day after day. Why did you show up?
I guess that's just me, right? I think that's just what we do. It's either show up or give up. And obviously, I wasn't ready to give up myself, but I could see how some people have that feeling of wanting to give up for sure. Or even let's say if you are taking care of somebody when they are sick, just the animosity that you can hold towards them because you're constantly having to do everything, even though they're there and they look like they're healthy. And why can't you just get up and get it yourself? Well, I can't. And it's like, okay, I don't feel good either, you know? And so being sick, being, I think, terminally sick and just being like a cold flu sick, there's a big difference.
Yes.
But, but like when I was talking to your mother today, this morning, and she says, "Well, I'm still sick." And I said, "Okay, well, how much have you rested?" "Well, I've only gone to bridge." "Uh-huh. And how many hikes have you done using the extra lung power when you are sick?" No answer, crickets. Because she doesn't know how to stop when she is sick. So I think there's a kind of a line that you got to draw in the sand of knowing when to rest, how to relax your body when you are sick so that you are able to better take care of somebody else and or yourself especially. But you have to allow that time frame. And if you're not willing to do that, or if you don't know how to do that, maybe that needs to be the question.
Well, and I really think that that's also personality. And so, that really, there's no words for mother. Like, that's just how she is. I personally, there are some days when I just want to shrink away and, lay in bed all day and do nothing. However, I work, I have a dog, I have a home, I have all of these things that I have to take care of and always have really. And so for me, it's just a matter of forcing myself to get up and do these things and I may not be at 100%. There may be some days when I'm at 20%, but I think it's just a matter of even if you are at 20%, just being able to say that you're there and doing things.
So, being sick, do you think, obviously the germs, but also being sick, I think comes from the weariness of everyday life as well. Like you're able to easier pick up something of a germ, you know, something, and you don't realize that that's why you became sick because you are not
Of
taking
course.
care of yourself. You know what I'm saying? So
Of course.
being sick can be part of the emotional stuff that we're also going through, right? So, like, you're not getting any gold star. There's no fancy speech coming in, and you still have to fix your own brownies for the brownie points. It's emotionally, I think for a lot of people right now, we don't know how to act, how to behave, how to regulate our internal body because of all these outlying factors that just seem to keep pouring in, whether that's the world view right now, or just your everyday happenings, or whether that's something going on within your own family, within your own nucleus. I can only imagine how much worse everything is always compounded by the emotional part of it, being sick part of it, and having to still keep pushing through. If you choose
Yeah.
to keep pushing through. I mean, I know I have to keep pushing through because it's just not an option.
I know that I recently went through a very emotional, kind of down part of my life, and my emotions just kind of really went through the rough with something that just kind of hit me out of nowhere. And what I wanted to do, and what I did do for a full day, was just kind of sit in bed and cry and curl up like a little baby. And then the next day, I had to tell myself, really, this isn't getting you anywhere. And you can sit and you can curl up like a baby, but what is it really doing? And so I could have easily just spent like, yeah, all this time feeling a pity party and feeling sorry for myself. And it really was truly a mental game for me and a mental hardship. And just, I think just having the ability to work through that says something about the strengths that people have to have in order to really work through that depression.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And people say, well, you're just strong. Okay. I hate that saying. I don't know why I do, because, well, I guess I know why. It's just because it doesn't make sense to me. What constitute a strong person, so that they can force themselves to get out of bed, or because they do show up for whatever task that they are assigned to? That's just living. It doesn't make you a strong person. Yes,
Yes, it does.
like you
Yes, it does, because I feel like you can wallow in your pity and just lay there and never be able to get out of that depression. And it takes a mentally strong person to get past it. And I think that when people say you're strong, they mean that you're mentally strong in order to handle whatever comes at you. It doesn't mean like,
like you're muscly strong, or
whatever.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess I could see that, but I guess I just look at it as you, that's just what we have to do. It doesn't, I mean, I guess we could lay there, but
But a lot of people cannot mentally break out of that. And so therefore have to go on medication, have to go in the hospital, have to be admitted for whatever. And this is how suicides happen. This is how a lot of these manic depressive kind of things happen. And so yes, it takes a mentally strong person to kind of fight your way through whatever you're battling at the time.
I see. Yeah, well, that I could see that then. I guess I just never put much thought into it, because I just keep going on. But I think it's okay to wallow in bed, especially after such one emotional, like a severe emotional event. I think that's a person's prerogative to have that, because one, it can be shocking to the system, and there's no way to process that without time. So it could be however much time that person needs. But I think that is certainly fine to do when something like that happens. Now, in the case of you, you had compounded that by your crazy ass dog and broke your arm on top of that. So, I mean, to do that the next day, and or just within
Yeah.
48 hours, I would say 72 hours, to have what you and I had already talked about
Yeah.
offline, but
Hmm.
that took a lot of fortitude for sure. And I guess you're right. I guess some people just don't have that within them and don't know how to get that in them.
I mean, think about it. Like, even when you are going through, and I guess this could be like another segment, but when you are going through a really hard time financially, it's the same thing because finances can really drag you down through the mud, right? And it's the thing of like, man, why bother getting up? I don't have well, what am I going to do? I don't have the money to go do this or that. What's the point, right? And so again, it takes that mental fortitude to kind of say, like, it really doesn't matter. This is kind of just where I'm at in life, and you just need to deal with it.
Well, here's the thing with so financially and especially for me, like I be logging into my bank account. Oh, surprise me, and it never does. But it's financial difficulties can be really life-threatening with stress, your blood pressure, which in turn causes strokes or heart attack. And when I mean, obviously we all know that saying, when it rains, it pours. It feels like problem upon problem upon problem is always compounded upon the next problem. And I financial, you're right, it's how you handle it because the stress of financial difficulties is can be quite severe. And like you said, it's like, why would you even, why bother? Why bother doing anything? I mean, screw it. They're gonna take my house tomorrow. I might as well as live it up today. So you can't really have that kind of attitude because it feels like sometimes when you can run from your problems, but they just find you. So financial problems don't go away just because you want to run away. And
That's right.
you and I both know that it's
I do. I mean, I don't have a lot of financial stress like I used to, that is for sure. I've always, for the past, several years, I've just had a really good paying job and I've done okay, but I've been to a point where I've almost been out of a house. I've almost been on the streets. And so I understand when people talk about how stressful financial, and it really is a disability, financial disability is because it really drains on you mentally. Think like, "Ugh, man, I can't even afford groceries. I
well,
can't
that and
afford,
then like, oh,
in my car." Like,
exactly. That's what I was gonna say was now you can't have a car to get to your job in order to get that financial. And I mean, that's for me personally, I mean, that's where I'm at right now. So I have one car that's now needing to be into the shop. How am I supposed to go and get my kid to work in order for us to be able to pay the bills, which still is not enough with her helping me and helping support me. We are in danger of losing the house. And
so if any listeners are out there and would like to donate to a good cause, that would be amazing.
no, not even that. I don't mind hard work. I don't mind working. When I had my job, I loved going into my job every day. Well, for the most, I mean, obviously we all have our days, but like I think, and with the job market right now, people are losing their jobs left and right. And I don't know how people can survive, like you said, with the cost of everything rising and just the bills just keep piling up. And yeah, and of course gas, like you said, oh my God, it cost me $50 to fill up my tiny little car that wasn't even empty. It still had
Jeez.
it, I don't understand where.
If you sold your house and moved out to Ohio, you could find a decent priced home for the price you can get for your home. in California, and you could also find a really good job out here. There you
Uh-huh.
go. Problem
Uh,
solved.
uh-huh. Now, there are pros and cons. So, like yesterday when I was driving and my car was overheating, and we are in this massive, massive record-breaking heat wave, and I can't run the air. I have to turn the heater on. I almost died yesterday. The like I said, the financial difficulty, and then you compound a physical attribute of health, and it's like, holy crap, it's how can anybody do it? It's very, and then we go back now to the
But
emotional side of it, because now you're just even more depressed. So
But yet, here you are the next day, and you're able to laugh about it and talk about it, and you're up and you're doing things, and it's not like you're wallowing in like, oh man, my life sucks. Like you get up and you do what needs to be done. And I think that says a lot about someone that can do that because that in and of itself, that financial part of it is extremely depressing.
So I told you yesterday, I said, I'm sorry if I sound a little hangry and cranky. And you're just like,
No,
what's
that's
going
not
on?
what
And
you said. You
I
said bitchy.
well,
Oh,
I was trying to not say that on air. Hey, but I warned you ahead of time. And so I didn't want to have to get into it. I had to
no, I
sleep.
didn't think that you were. I didn't know what was going on at the time, and I didn't take it like that at all. If I know you, and I'm like, well, that just sounds like normal Holly, but
I said this morning, I said, I've had some sleep, I've had some hydration of tons of water and Powerade and rehydrated myself after yesterday. I'm able to think more clearly. And, we had some good discussions. So
yeah,
I think it helps to kind of have, you need the time and space in order to process emotionally what's, like you said, what you had that day where you wallowed. I had yesterday where I wallowed, and I just it, I think if you don't continue in your wallowing, whether you're able to
yeah.
shake it, and then obviously if that is a very big continuance, obviously seek help for sure, because one, we are not counselors, we're not therapists, we're not trying to tell you, but
Oh
we don't
Lord,
want to.
you'd need a counselor after talking to us.
Yeah. So we always put that stipulation on there, because we don't ever condone anything. We just talk from our own experience. We've said that almost every episode, because we just we've both had counseling for years. We've been in and out of places, and so it just we're both we know how to cope. We have coping mechanisms, and maybe some people just don't have that. But anyways, well, if today was a mess, but you made it through, congratulations, you survived the episode. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Pull up a chair for next week, and don't forget the snacks this time. I hope you all have a great day.
Bye, hens.